What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Krash and Thunders. I'm your host, Krash, and today we have a very special guest here from 86 Bullets, and that is Chris Elliot. How you doing, my man?
What's up, brother? How you, man?
Good, good. I appreciate you taking the time to come on the show and, telling us a little bit about your band. So,
Sure.
all right.
Well, appreciate you having me. And we met just about a week ago, I think, at a show.
Yeah, a
So
week or two. Yeah.
appropriate.
Exactly.
But yeah, we've been around about 5 years now. I think it's we just our 5 year anniversary is about now, so kind of hit a milestone, I guess.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Kind of nice. Just put out, let's see, gosh, we go back a little ways. We started out with the EPs. We did a few of those, and we put out a full length, and we just the new one called Ascension, which we talked about. You heard a bit about. That's actually the self-titled.
Yes, that's the first, and then
that was
Ascension there.
Yeah, that's Ascension. That just came out. I think it was June 16th was official drop date, so it's pretty new.
Yeah. So because the self-title is from 2020, correct? And then Ascension, the new one, is obviously 2021 then. So
yeah, the self-titled is actually a compilation of the 3 EPs plus a few bonus tracks.
Okay.
So it's that one. That was spanned over the course of, I guess, 2017 through 2020, something in that range. And we had people asking for the longest time. They're like, they were never, not everyone, but it's, you put out an EP, it's 4 songs, for us it was 4, but it could be 3 to 7 maybe.
Yeah. Anything less than 8, really.
Yeah, there you go. Or so here we are, we put out 4 tracks and people would say, hey, it's not enough music,
Mm-hmm.
It's over with too quick. When are you going to put out full length? And we just kept, I guess it's just the way we were writing and the way we played shows. It only allowed, we would write, we'd have here's 4 more songs, let's get them out there. And just sort of just came about that way.
All right.
And then last year hit and COVID and everything else, and we couldn't get together technically for a few months. And it's like Jerry, our drummer, had been pushing me for a while to get the everything put onto one album, which made sense. I mean, you might as well just remaster it, do it that way. And then so I took that time. That was actually in March, I think, when that dropped, like last year. So it was actually right around COVID, a little, once it started, and it didn't take super long because the songs were already recorded. We just did a little remastering of them, nothing too drastic, added some bonus tracks, which were already in the can, and then released it. I think it dropped late March, early April. So we had that done. We still couldn't play. And I put out a solo album, just little things that you don't have time for normally. And you got all this time on your hands.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And so, I think a lot of bands had that, good issue, just not being able to do any live stuff. So they're just kind of working on a lot of studio, and just writing new material. So.
Yeah, and you see that, like a lot of bands have put out albums this year, or it was just things that they've been working on through the whole of last year, and recording. So even see a lot of music being created. So I guess that's one of the good sides, or the good aspects of what happened to us. We got a time to reflect, woodshed, write some new stuff. And the funny thing is, I'm actually 7-8 songs into another solo album. So
okay. I'm gonna have to look at it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to, get a hold of you and look into some of that. Is it anything kind of like, 86 Bullets, or is it something totally different?
It's pretty different. It's heavy. I do most of it on my 7-string guitar. So you got the real drop tuning.
Okay. Gotcha.
It's shreddy. I got some melodic stuff too.
Okay,
so
good.
I would say no, because it's all instrumental. Because I don't sing that well,
Right.
that's why we have a singer. Wish I could say. I always wish, but it's like, so there's no singing on it at all.
Okay.
So you just get the guitar instrumental stuff, and it's pretty difficult to do, in a sense, because you're trying to carry the weight of what a singer would normally do, and to try to make it somewhat interesting.
Yeah, to keep the attention of the listener. as well.
Yeah. So, guys like Satriani and, I think it got nominated for a Grammy back in the 80s or
Yeah. Oh
something.
yeah. Yeah. Him and Steve Vai, like those, like those type of people, they are able to keep your attention, and I love Steve Vai, I love Satriani, I love their stuff. And it's just amazing, like how most people don't even look at that type of, I guess, rock or metal just because there is no vocals to it. But I could give or take vocals. Like, yeah, I can listen to anything as long as it sounds good,
Yeah. And for years, I mean, like classical music, we had opera, but,
Right.
people sat through, Mozart, Beethoven symphonies, and I love it. I could sit there and listen to that
Oh
all
yeah,
day.
I'm right with you. I'm right with you on that.
Right on.
So yeah, we could talk a little bit about your two releases then, since you brought them up. So the self-titled, can you tell us a little bit anything, how it was, like just how the band came to be, as far as like how you guys gelled? Was it just kind of like clicking for you guys for this, or for the two EPs technically, I guess you could say, more so than the self-titled, but the material on this? So was it kind of like just clicking, you guys click, everything was just gelled right away, or was it kind of like a little bit of a got to work with him, got give or take, with a lot of stuff?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. We so kind of the history lends some sense to that as far as it goes. I was sort of the glue, I guess, because I knew everybody that's in the band from other projects and bands. I was probably the common denominator that started everything out. So I had played in a band with Eric, our bass player, about 10 years ago. Totally different band. I mean, it was a cover band. We were playing a lot of shows, good money, that kind of thing, every weekend. I was actually just filling in. Their guitar player had gone to Las Vegas at the time. He got an opportunity to play in a show band or something like that. And they asked me to fill in, and while he was gone, I mean, it was a temporary thing, but I stayed for a year. So that was where I met Eric. Jerry and I have been playing, our drummer, we've been playing since like the early 90s. So I've known him the longest. And then Steve, the singer, I was in a project with him about 8-9 years ago. It was a cover band, and I think it was the same situation. They asked me to fill in or sub for their guitar player, and I stuck around for a few more gigs. And then I got to know Steve, and then Steve and I did an acoustic thing. So it kind of went from there. When this band got together, it was Jerry and I, and then we knew Eric. We asked him, and then Steve was the last one. It was funny because we wanted to, we ran into, we're kind of, I don't even know what you would define us as. I mean, I always want to be metal, it's
right.
I want to be the metal band, because that's what I love. I grew up on that. My favorites are, Black Sabbath, Iron Maiden, you get down the list.
Yep.
But when, it was kind of, we were thinking of, well, we need that, that woo, that kind of singer. And that was all it was in our heads, and we couldn't get the right person for it. We had someone, I won't mention names, but didn't work out, put it that way. And we were kind of looking for a singer, and I was thinking everybody I could think of, and finally I was like, Steve, well, he's got a really good voice, but he's not a metal singer, but it could be something different, because I'm always into, let's make it different, because, that's the only way you kind of stand out. Because if you sound like everyone else, and sometimes you just sound like everyone else, So it was like, let's give him a shot. So that's kind of how it came about. And,
yeah, because that kind of reminds me of, like, when I'm listening to these two albums of yours, I'm like, it's kind of hard to pinpoint exactly. Like, I hear a lot of different influences, because like as a whole, I would say you kind of give me the vibe of like a Stain, maybe a little bit like of a 90s feel to it. But with your guitar playing and soloing and such like that, it makes it more of a traditional metal sound as well. And that's what I really dig, is your solos in the songs, and just even Eric's bass tone as well. Like you could tell both of you are doing your own thing, and I really dig that with these two albums. Like, and even the vocalist Steve, like you said, he is different. Like he's a little bit more of that 90s, later 90s, early 2000s type sound, but it really works between you two. like you guys do have that modern sound ish, modern-ish, I guess you could say now, comparing to 90s. But I really dig the guitar solo, and I really dig the bass chops, just drumming. Everything sounds really good with you guys. I'm really, because like I don't want to say you guys have like a Matchbox 20 sound, but if your guys' like choruses or melodies, like just the sing along a little bit, just on your like slower mid-tempo type stuff, like a heavy metal Matchbox 20, because I'm not a big Matchbox 20 guy at all, but I do know of their debut, and it reminds me a little bit of that, but just way cooler, So
thanks, man. I appreciate it, and I'm actually glad that you're kind of struggling to identify us. It's a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and I think that's the whole point. We really like when we hear that. It's like
good.
What do they sound like? Yeah, and to get some really eclectic responses like Matchbox 20 or Stain. We've heard like Shinedown.
Right. I can hear that too. Yep.
It was funny if you ask us. I think you get all kind of different opinions.
Yeah.
It's funny. Like when I hear it, and that's funny because if I'm writing, like I would say, okay, that's the Iron Maiden part of the song.
Exactly.
That's the Black Sabbath riff. Like that's how I kind of categorize it. I mean, not that they all had that, but there would be like certain songs I can say, yeah, that sounds to me like Sabbath or
exactly.
Slayer. But
and and even like just a tad bit of like Slipknot, like that type of metal as well in there, like because like Steve's vocals, like it can get lumped into that type that era of singing for metal, and it, like I said, it works with you guys. And like I'm not a big late or mid to late 90s 2000s metal guy, but this works, and I think it is because of the soloing of yours. Like that's what keeps my attention in these songs, as long as with the choruses are very very melodic, some of them, and that just the one, even on the debut here, Reason to Live, or no, sorry, not Begin Your Life Again, that's what it is. That's a great song. You could play that on like the modern metal radio now around here, and it would fit right in, but be a whole lot better at the same time, so that definitely, I definitely, because you guys did make a music video for that as well, correct? Is that
that we have a video for that, and also the first one, A Beautiful Lie. We like to do more videos. They're expensive. But yeah, those are out there on YouTube on a channel, but appreciate that, man. It's like, and I don't take, some people might say, oh, Matchbox 20 or this or that. I don't take offense to any of it. It's like those bands made it big. So I have, ultimate respect for anybody that, it's like people cut on Jason or was it Justin Bieber, or somebody. And I get that. But then like as a musician, as like professional, like the music industry, I mean, I don't know, that I got to give props for anybody that can just get that far.
It's hard to make it.
I mean, that's just because how it is when you're trying to get to, what you do, like especially all original and trying to make it, just on a local level and then just a regional level. And then you see somebody that's selling millions of downloads, albums, and touring the world. Props, I mean, what else can you say? Even if you
it's
don't
hard.
like that
It's hard to do that.
It's really hard. It's like one in a million. And now bands, you rarely see bands that are on the charts or selling records. I mean, they count records now and downloads into record sales, for gold, platinum albums and all that. Of course, you have to have a S-ton more of, I don't know if I can curse on this show.
You're good.
A lot more. You have to have a lot more downloads to equal one record, but still, it's like.
Yeah, no, it is. It is tough out there.
Most of them are these singer-songwriter types. We're just singers that have other people write their songs.
Yeah. And like I said, it is tough, and especially doing the music that you love as well. That's also another barrier a lot of people have to break through. Yeah, sure, you might be able to make it, but if you're being told you got to sound like this, a lot of people don't like that. A lot of musicians don't like that. So
that's a good point. And I've told the guys, through the pandemic, I felt really bad for bands that were touring and still trying to. not maybe like your Def Leppards or Motley Crues. They're already as rich as they don't need the money, right? Rolling Stones, they don't need the money. So, but you look at like bands like Faster Pussycat, probably even like the Dokkens. You know, they're unless they're doing the big festivals like M3 or you know something like some regional type of festival, they're playing small to medium sized clubs, a lot of them. You know, so unless they made a lot of money in the 80s and they stocked it away and they saved, which most of them probably didn't.
Most of them though.
You know, they need the money. I would think a lot of them need the money. You know, they don't have health insurance, and then a lot of them are stuck in that 50s to mid 60s range, especially those 80s metal bands. So you're right in that age group that it's before Social Security. I mean, Social Security and Medicare. You know, so you got to front all that.
Oh yeah, so hell yeah. I know it is rough because like you said, like even like a lot of bands, like you said, maybe a handful of bands, just say from the 80s, from like the hair metal and stuff, like a lot of them just after those handful of bands, you know, they're still living day to day, you know, tour by tour, you know, and just like, because I seen Britney Fox, they were pretty big in the late 80s. They sold gold records, you know, and okay, they were just playing in a bar 3 years ago down the street from me. You know, it's like comparing that, they would have never thought back in 1989 they would be playing bars, you know, again. You know, they thought they'd be, we're doing stadiums the rest of our lives, you know, but you know, that changed right away soon after that. So I totally get what you're saying though. It's rough. It's rough out there in the music industry.
Yeah. And you know, I guess to complete my thought on it, I told the guys, I'm like, you know, it's I'm kind of glad we have day jobs, you know, in a way, because like we didn't have to worry about that. But the other thing is we're not beholden, you know, we're signed to a independent record label, you know, and he's cool, you know, we get to do whatever we want as far artistically. Which, you know, we don't get any money, but you know, it's all on us. But there's a trade-off. You know, we have complete artistic
freedom,
overview, whatever. You know, I mean, we can do what we want. Which that freedom is really means a lot to an artist. I couldn't imagine, you know, being told what to do and this or that, and you know.
Yeah, that has to be rough, being told, you guys got to sound like this. I could imagine it sucked for bands, you know, it's rough. So I guess one of my, I'll throw in here, one of the bonus tracks here for the debut is one of your guitar solos. And now, were you doing a little bit of a like eruption and such? Was Eddie Van Halen a little bit of your influence on this particular guitar solo? I could say.
Yeah, you know, absolutely was. And the eruption thing I just threw in there. I would kind of, I would go through phases. Like I would change up the guitar solo because, and then some gigs you don't want to play as long. That's a 3-minute solo, I think.
Yeah.
And I remember, you know, I got some flack for, don't do such a long solo. I'm like, yeah, but it's cool. You know, it's like, it's, you know, when I went to see shows, and I still, you know, I love it when the guitar player and, well, when the drummer solos, I usually go get the beer, but not really. If he's a good drummer, I don't want to listen. But
hell yeah.
But I get that. You know, it's like I don't want to bore people, so I try to, you know, think of little things that I could throw in to catch your attention. So that was just something I was noodling around with, and I always knew it, you know, from just playing it. And you know, I was just kind of working out a few things. Well, I'm going to do this here. I never really know exactly, but I kind of maybe map out maybe what I'm going to do for the solo. You know, I might start out down here, do a little shreddy thing, come up, maybe do a finger tap, then go to the wah, you know, and then eruption came out. So I was using that a good bit during that era, I guess you could say. Now, I've dropped it since, just throwing other things in or just not having time for it or whatever. But as far as influence, absolutely. And you know, when he passed away, it was crushing to just about everybody that plays guitar or music for that.
That shook the rock and metal world when that happened. So, So since we're talking a little bit about influences, do you mind giving us your top 3 guitar influences?
No, I mean, it's really hard to pinpoint
It is.
three.
Yeah,
Really
yeah.
hard, man,
Yep.
because I love so many types of players and genres. You know, you could start
Exactly.
go there, but oh man, you know, I can name a few.
Yeah,
It's
go.
coming up
I don't want
quickly,
to put you on the
but
spot
yeah,
for just three. You just name
yeah.
name your some of your most important ones, and you know, we'll go from
Yeah, you know
there.
what else is yeah, it depends too. Like when I was a kid, when I was
Mhm.
younger and learning, I had influence. For example, I was even my earlier influences were I'd say Tony Iommi from Black
Right.
Sabbath, of course. Jimmy Page
Yep.
was huge. They were, and then I got into Randy Rhoads big time. He
Okay.
was my biggest hero. In fact, the first show I ever saw was Randy with Ozzy at Merriweather.
Nice.
Um,
Okay.
and I got a little interesting story on that too, is that when we played 2016, the M3 show, and I've been throwing up some clips of that, we finally found our footage of that complete performance. Almost, there's a few minutes missing, but
Okay.
I've posted it up since. But I wore my Randy Rhoads tribute shirt during our set because this is coming full circle. You know, I finally got to play this classic venue where pretty much every band has ever played that is someone. I
Yeah.
think I looked into that one time, and there was like the Beatles were the only. I mean, everybody else has played there. You know, the Who, the
Okay.
Stones, the Pink Floyd, Metallica, you name it, Kiss,
Mm-hmm.
all my favorites. You know, and I felt that the first show I ever saw there was Randy. So I wore the tribute shirt, and that just meant a lot to me.
Oh
Then I
yeah.
got to talk to Frankie Banali the next day before Quiet Riot
Nice.
set,
Nice.
and
Okay.
I told him that I wore, you know, that Randy's shirt. And of course, he played in Quiet Riot with Randy,
Yeah.
so I was
Yep.
like goosebumps all over
Oh
type
man.
of
Yeah.
thing, you know,
Yeah.
pinch me kind of moment. But
That's badass. Yeah. That you could argue that's the closest you were ever to get to Randy. You know, is
yeah, I mean,
for
he
him.
lived such a short life, and I'm just so glad I got to see him because he was, you
Exactly.
know, he was phenomenal. And then just to complete that thought, I had like Gary Moore was a big still are. All
Yeah.
these guys I
He's
mentioned, I
awesome.
still love to this day. Eddie Van Halen was huge. Alan Holdsworth is
Mhm.
probably one of my favorite guitar. I mean, I don't understand what he's doing, but he's so good. He was the one that Eddie Van Halen used to say, "You think I'm good? Listen to this guy, Alan
Right.
Holdsworth. He
Yep.
blows me away." And then
Yep.
when I heard that back in like 1983 or four, it's like, okay, I better check this guy out. So, you
Yeah.
know,
If Eddie's recommending somebody, you know, you definitely want to check him out.
you're right, right, for sure. You know, then I got like Ingve would be in there.
Oh yeah. Yep.
You know, all the shredders, Paul Gilbert, like Langelo
Oh
Badio,
yeah. Yep. Yeah. He's
Vivian
man.
Campbell, I loved with Dio.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That's one thing when I heard, like, I was pretty young when he went over to Def Leppard, and I was like, I never knew that he was in Dio before Def Leppard, because like obviously I was born in '92, so like I'm, you know, late to the party obviously, and so yeah, and I was like, wow, he played in like what, the first three
Yeah,
Dio records, correct? Is that
yeah. The first one, it was Holy Diver and
last in line?
Sacred Heart. Oh no,
Yeah.
you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Holy
Yep.
Diver, Last in Line, Sacred Heart. Yep.
Yes. Yep. Okay. Yeah. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's amazing. Like, and then no one would ever think, you know, a hard metal guitar player. Oh well, he's over in Def Leppard now. Oh yeah. Okay. You know, that's kind of like throws some people off, but yeah,
Yeah.
still badass though. He great guitar player. So yeah, well, we'll
Yeah.
jump back into your debut here. So yeah, definitely like I love Together, love you know, begin life again.
And you're
That's
yeah.
one of that's one of the better songs I think possibly in your whole catalog. You know, it's just very moving. Like your slower to mid tempo songs, I think you guys just nail. You got, there's some of the best stuff I've heard from recent modern sounding bands. You know, awesome stuff. And then Where I Belong is really good. Flight of Eternity is really good. I really dig this debut for a debut of EPs. You know, very very good. I enjoy it. I enjoy both the albums, but the debut is very good. So
Thank you. I appreciate
yeah.
it. Yeah.
So and then obviously the next year later we get Ascension.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit how this album came to be then compared to the debut? Was it a little bit easier? You guys more played some shows together and such, you know, by this time knew each other a little bit better, like how each of you's like in the studio and such, you know. So was this a little bit easier now, Ascension?
Yeah. As far as, well, I'd have to kind of break it down, writing, recording, that kind of thing.
Okay.
I think it was about the same process, really.
Okay.
But we were more used to each other, I guess, because
Yeah.
we had played shows. A lot of the songs on the debut we had hardly played any shows. They were written for shows, so we could play them. And, debut, I mean, our second show ever was the M3 Festival. So we played songs we never played before, just written, which is, talk about pressure, but it was cool. It went well. And, we still play a lot of those songs today, so they're still with us. But I don't know, we just, I wouldn't say we have a formula, but we have a kind of a way that most of the songs develop. I would say 90%, like I'll have the germ of an idea, I'll have the song, the riffs, the kind of a rough arrangement, maybe the vocals, the lyrics and so forth like that. And I'll bring them in, and then we just kind of put it into a blender, and everybody does their own thing.
Right.
Steve will write the words sometimes, especially if he's feeling it, like he's got a good melody for something. And the thing is, I never really tell anybody what to do, like as far as if I write the core of the song, I'm like, do your thing, make it better. That's all I care about.
Right.
Because my singing is limited, so I might have some ideas for, okay, I kind of think chorus go like this, but you do your thing. I think that seems to work for us. I mean, I would want it to be that way too. I mean, somebody trusts me to come up with something, and I trust those guys 100%. I'm like, just do your thing.
Right.
Now when we're recording, it's really the same. We give suggestions on, like, okay, we'll try this maybe instead of that.
Right.
And we probably gave Steve more of a hard time early on, like on the first album, because we were producing with another guy. The second was more self-produced, but we sort of got into a routine, where we would make suggestions and things like that. But I mean, it's really definitely a team effort. I'd say from writing through recording.
I was gonna say, it definitely sounds like you guys hand off to one another when it's needed, and you can definitely tell in these songs with that, and even on the debut as well. But definitely more so, it's more of a fluent thing on, more. Definitely can tell you're gelling more on the second album, I think, and just like stuff like Burn, and Unity, even awesome stuff. It like I said, I could argue anything on 105.7DX or any of these local modern radio channels. I could put any one of these songs that I mentioned up against some of their best stuff, and I think it would do just as well or better.
Thanks. Yeah. Well, we actually are on a fair number of stations. You can't break into like the FM market without playlists and payola and all that stuff. Yeah. So, we haven't been able to get to the 98 Rocks or 101 and stuff like that. But, we've got a lot of buzz, that way. We really appreciate what you do and what, I mean, and I tell you what, there's got to be a lot of freedom and liberty in that too, because you can play what the hell you want to play.
Oh yeah.
As far as, you're not beholden. It's the same thing with you guys, with your stations, with your podcasting, things like that. You're the boss. You
man.
Do what you want.
I was gonna say, because
good feeling, right?
Yeah. Oh hell yeah. Because I even when I was like 12, 13, I'm listening to the radio. I listened to the radio for maybe like 2 weeks. I'm like, they play the same songs over and over. So I guess I'm gonna have to go out and buy my own CDs. Like, I'm not listening to the same 10 songs every day. I can't do that. Yeah, apparently a lot of people like that, I guess. I don't know. So, but me, I couldn't do that. So I had to get my own collection going. So, and never looked back since then. So
kind of what we did too. I did, same thing. When you listen to the radio for years, it was always on a CD player or tape.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely. I mean, and that kind of brings another question here, since we're talking about the second album. But I also can see on the album covers. Now, what exactly is the elephants? Is there a story behind the elephant? for your 2 album covers?
There is. It's Tyke the Elephant. We're the probably easiest thing to do is people go to our Wikipedia page. We're linked up to a story, or you can just type in Tyke the Elephant.
Okay.
Google it, you'll see. But it stemmed from an incident back in the early 90s where a circus elephant was shot to death in the streets of Honolulu in Hawaii.
Okay.
And it's the story is it took 86 bullets to bring the elephant to the ground.
Oh wow, okay.
And I remember seeing it on the news when it happened.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that, and then years and years later, I ran across it online or somewhere. I'm like, wait, I remember this. And it just stuck in my head that this could be a cool name for a band, because I've always supported human rights, animal rights,
Right.
things of compassion.
Mm-hmm.
And it just struck me as just so wrong. I mean, elephants are abused in circuses. I mean, they're notorious for animals being abused. Yeah. And this elephant was abused, and it finally just said enough, I'm done, and went nuts,
Okay.
and stormed out of the store. I think she ended up killing like one of the trainers or something. Just, it was probably being beat.
Yeah.
With a bull hook or something at the time. And she just stormed out, and, you have this absurd picture, you can find them online. I just can't look at them anymore. It just disturbs me. But, you got an elephant running through the streets, or not even running, but, through the streets of a city with, police people, with guns. I mean, how unnatural is that?
Right.
It's like, I just think, I think they should be in a jungle or something. So just
more natural habitat, not no zoo, not no circus. Like I agree with you on that. And
something totally unnatural. Yeah, thanks. But that spawned the whole idea and concept.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it is definitely different though. Like, if you're going through like the CD rack, you see, oh, an elephant with wings or 86 bullets, it definitely catches the attention of the buyer. So I dig the album covers. So that's another thing you got going for, another positive thing. So like I said, I think you guys are doing a lot of good. You guys sound good live. Like I said, I seen you about 2 weeks or so ago now, and guys sound good, sound tight. Like I said, Eric, on the bass, that tone is so heavy, so thick. And then you're just over there, like everyone, like I was kind of like, holy shit, what's going on with Eric over here? And then meanwhile, you're over here doing your shredding stuff. I'm like, I can't put both my eyes on both of you at the same time. Come on, but it was definitely worth checking you guys out. You guys are awesome live. I'd recommend.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. I mean, that's where it's, that's where you kind of have to bring the energy, right? And try to engage with people. And, and then I think, as far as Eric, I mean, he's, he and I think alike as far as that, he thinks, his favorite bass player is Billy Sheehan. Joe Macri from Crack the Sky. Of course, we work with Joe. I'm just a guitar player on his solo stuff. But just these proggy bands, guys that can really play. And he comes from that mentality. And I never want to hold him back at all. I'm like, just go for it. Play it. Like just know what to do. And and you're right, he's a tone monster too. He's so, every time you come to practice, he's like, check this out, I've changed my EQ, I've done this. He's always tinkering, he's never satisfied. So
hey, that's a good thing, I guess. Hey, it sounds good, so keep doing what you're doing, so but
I think that's how you get to that point, because you're not satisfied. You keep wanting to get to the next level, whether it be tone or tech, playing wise, and I follow, I try. I'm never satisfied either. I'm like always wanting to get better. I want to write better. I want to shred better. I want to do everything. It's like, and I think that's what keeps the fire going. It's like
exactly.
You got that.
I think I hear a lot of musicians say the same thing that you just said. It's just that fire. Just keep wanting to do something different, or just keep learning. It's amazing like how it is like the same answer for a lot of musicians, especially the ones like, even like you could even argue like Motley Crue, like the bands that are kind of done, like they've been there, done that kind of thing. Even then, they even kind of say, kind of still have a little bit of a fire somewhat still inside, So, and it's just amazing. That's the camaraderie, like the connectivity between all the musicians, you know, and even fans too. So I totally get that. So
well, you need the fans, you know, you need their support and their energy, their love and everything else, man. It's like
yeah, because without a fan, you're just kind of playing by yourself, right?
You're like the tree that falls in the forest, right?
Exactly.
Didn't make any sound. I don't
know. So speaking of the live, I guess, how long are you, I guess, still going out on to support Ascension, and how far on the East Coast, or how far west are you guys planning on going? Do you know it? Anything?
Well, so far we've got just around this area. You know, we got the Maryland shows, PA, Delaware. Mm-hmm. We are booked on Long Island, New York City, which is going to be our first time in New York in February. And we're really looking forward to that. Of course, they just put the mask mandate and then the vaccine mandate on. True. Now that's the city. Now that's not early Long Island. So we're in limbo right now on it. I don't know. I'll have to reach out to the promoter and see what the status is. I'm not worried about it now. We're still in August or September, and we're talking about late February. So
pretty much about 4 months, 5 months or so, give or take, till then.
Yeah, so, you know, so you know, but we're. What else? Yeah, I mean, our website, it's a good place to go. You know, 86bullets.com. You know, we put all of our shows and everything that's coming up. So I would say, as far as duration, really up until we're, you know, working on something else, you know, I would say probably to next year, to next spring, you know.
Okay. All right. Yeah. And I will definitely put all your guys's or 86 Bullets website on the description, you know, any way to get your Facebook as well. So fans that come to this, I'll put that in the description below so you guys can follow that. And I guess one of our usual staple questions for our artists is, what is it that you love about music?
The energy, the passion, you know what, for me, it's like religion, man. It's like, it really is. It's like, I go back to when I was a kid, you know, and it's funny because all the music I liked as a kid, I still like now.
Yes.
Which is, I don't know if that's strange, but I think a lot of people are like that, because I remember, like, I would be told when I was younger, well, you're not going to be listening to that when you're 50 years old or 30. And I was like, really?
Yeah.
But, I mean, if I go back, my first album, actually the first album I ever got, I think I was 7 years old. It was Sesame Street.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not necessarily, maybe I'm not really into Sesame Street, but my second album was Jim Croce's Life and Times. And I got my mom to buy it for me. One of my friends, I think I was in kindergarten at the time, and he was talking about Bad Leroy Brown. You got to hear that song, you know?
Yep.
And I remember I heard it. I was like, yeah, so I got to get that. And it had a bad word in it. So I felt really edgy as a 8-year-old, you know, 7-year-old. I'm like, because it said, baddest man in the whole damn town.
Oh, shit.
I was like, I'm bad. I'm a badass little kid. I'm kind of getting away with, I got an album that has a bad word. And anyway, but it's funny because I love Jim Croce, you know. I think he's great. I mean, it's folk music and all. I dig it, you know. It's like, you know, he struck this nerve in my soul, you know, he still does. But then, you know, that got into, you know, it was more, I was just finding out about music on my own. I didn't have a lot of influence at home about it. You know, my mom had some like Elvis records or something. She didn't really listen to that much. So I really had to find out through my peers and through my own, you know, magazines and things like that. So, you know, I got into like Chicago when I was in 4th grade. I used to wear the Chicago 8 because it came with a decal.
Yeah.
You know, I got my mom to put it on a t-shirt and I wore it to school, you know. And I remember my gym teacher looked at me, he's like, hey, that's a cool band.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm a 4th grader, you know, so Chicago. And then when I got into high school, and then I got turned on to Zeppelin and Black Sabbath, and then the floodgates just started. Iron Maiden, and it was all over with, you know. And then and you're learning guitar. I mean, probably hit one of the mother loads as far as the best time to learn guitar.
Yeah.
Late 70s, early 80s. You got,
Oh yeah,
when
yeah.
it started.
A Guitar Hero on pretty much every album in the metal section. Like
yeah, I mean, just you got that's when you first got Van Halen and then Randy Rhoads, and I mean that everybody followed George Lynch and
oh my
Vivian and all that.
Vinnie Vincent, all of them, man. It's hard to. I always say this to everybody. In the '80s, it's hard to find a bad guitar player. I mean, sure, you could say there's somewhere, but more times than not, you're gonna find a good shredder, good melodic, good something. There's a good guitar player in my ears, anyway.
Well, here, there's a quick story for it, because I think it's real apropos to what you just said. Is Warrant, right?
Oh yeah.
Do you know in the 80s, their guitar players, apparently they weren't that good. And in fact,
yes,
when they had a studio guy play all their solos.
I've heard that, yes.
They didn't tell anybody. I mean, now it sort of leaked out in the media, but they said that, reading what the producers, engineers said about the sessions that they were on, is that they, I remember, I forget who, was it Tom Werman or one of those guys, the big name producers?
Right, yeah.
I had to sit down with those guys and tell them. And he was like really worried that this wasn't going to go well.
Yes.
But he said they were really cool about it. They were all right. They were humble, and they actually had the guy, I forget the guy's name. He's like a studio cat, shredder type.
Yeah, the name escapes me too. Because I do remember this.
You heard that story?
Yes, because I even looked up, when I was looking up that story, I found out that CC DeVille actually played the solo on Cherry Pie.
Yeah. You're right. Yep. That is right.
I didn't know that until probably about 2 years ago. I'm like jamming to this. I'm like, oh man, I've been jamming to this for the last 20 years and didn't realize it was CC.
Thought it was Eric Turner or the other guy. I used to, but they actually got better though.
I was gonna say,
practiced.
Yes, I seen Warrant 2 months ago for the second time, and they're up there doing guitar solos just fine, and during like an actual solo guitar solo, just like for like 5 minutes straight, it's cool. They you wouldn't expect to hear that story, seeing how they play now,
Right. They play very respectably now. They just practiced. I guess they were a little behind the 8 ball back then. They were writing good songs, but they just didn't have somebody that could just, because back then you had to compete with the George Lynches. And
exactly.
You had to have somebody that could rip, that's hard to do.
Yes. If you, like I say, if you don't have a guitar hero in the 80s, you're kind of falling behind somewhere a little bit,
Oh yeah.
But yeah, definitely. Like I said, like Warren, I think some people shit on Warren. I think Jenny Lane's one of the most underrated songwriters there was in the 80s. I mean, everyone gives a shit for the song Cherry Pie, but I mean, it's just a fun song. Like give me a break, like, I don't know. So yes, I agree with you though. They definitely did get better as time went on. And yeah, because I do remember hearing, not to get off subject again, but Tom, you said the producer, I think he did Dog Eat Dog, I think, or did he? Damn, I can't remember which one it is, but yes, he did say that. And I was like, I can't believe he just kind of like threw them under the bus a little bit. But could it also be though, the live setting to a studio setting? Is it any different for you, or is it kind of somewhat the same, or is it anything? Is it a different animal?
It definitely is.
Okay.
It's usually, it's definitely a different animal. I think generally it's easier to play in a studio because you can warm up and you're in a controlled environment.
Right.
And you can, if you screw up, you can do another take. So you have that liberty. Now there is like what they call, I think, like red light syndrome or green lights or whatever they call it. In other words, it's like the lights on, go, you got to perform and play your best.
Right.
This is going to be on tape for everybody to hear forever and ever.
Yes,
that's some pressure there.
It is.
Too.
Yeah.
So but then live has its own tricks. Or as far as, like, for example, the weather can affect it. Like if it's humid, like the other day, that show last weekend wasn't I was sweating and it was so hot, it was like, and it'll affect like, if you get, condensation on your strings, my
Yeah.
guitar was in tune. I was actually checking it because I'm like, that could wreak havoc on your strings. So, you're trying to work, make sure it's in tune. And it just, there's all these little variables that can kind of take hold.
Right.
You could trip over your cord and like, you could pull your cord out. Like, there, MTV Music Awards talking about CC DeVille.
Yes. Yeah.
91, where I think he stepped on his cord and that was a disaster.
Yeah, he was just playing in the wrong tune to begin with, or the wrong song or something,
Yeah. But you know what? It's cool to see stuff like that because as a musician, you totally relate. Like I never would hold it against them. I'm like, yeah, that's happened before. That's happened. That can happen.
Right.
You
And everyone makes mistakes too. It just happens. So it just happened to be on a big stage. That's all.
Right, right in front of millions of people.
Yeah. Oh man. So yeah, Chris, I guess pretty much that kind of answers a lot of my questions. If you want to say anything to the fans or the viewers, go right ahead. It's your platform right now. So if you want to let us know of anything, go right ahead, my man.
Yeah, I would say, well, first of all, thanks, man. I appreciate you having me.
No problem.
It's been great. It's good chatting with you. As far as I can just sum up, our website's a great place to go, for any info, if anyone's interested for tour dates, videos, music, it's all there. And that's 86bullets.com.
Okay.
So pretty simple, right?
Yeah.
Of course,
I'll put that in the description as well then for everybody.
Sweet. Thank you. And then of course we have Facebook, Instagram, although that I don't know how to fix that. It locked up on my phone. I can't get to the Bullets account for some reason, and it's been like that for months.
Really? Yeah. I always hear horror stories with Instagram. For some reason, I don't know what it is, but I'm not an Instagram guy, so I can't help you on that one.
I don't love it too much. I mean, well, anyway, I think I had to reinstall the app, but okay. I have my personal one there, and then I have the Bullets one, but mine works. So I've just been posting Bullets stuff on mine. We're very approachable and we love to have new friends and fans. So if anybody wants to hit us up personally, through Facebook, Instagram, whatever, I take all of being friends with everyone. So, I post a lot of stuff on my social media as well. So, it's a good, like I said, like the M3 stuff, I've been posting some old video we never thought existed. Now we have that. So I've been putting stuff like that out there, and I always put our new releases and things like that, and so it's a good way to sort of keep in touch with us. But yeah, so that's about it. All right, bro. Yeah, I would say Facebook and our website are the best ways to find us, and then
you guys do have a YouTube channel, correct?
We do, yeah. Okay. We have a YouTube channel. All this stuff goes up on there. Our record label has a channel for us that I think a lot of the music, not necessarily the videos, but the when they'll just the songs are put up there, just the individual songs. So you can find those on YouTube, but they're on a website too. So if anybody wants to check them out, or I don't know that you can download them, but you can hear like snippets or whatever. But I guess I would start with the videos, and then you can kind of see where we're coming from. And if of course, it'd be great to see everyone on the show, because it's that's where the
that's where all the magic happens.
That's where we bring it, and everybody we always have a good time, and we love doing it, man. That's what it's all about.
All right, brother. Hey, man, we appreciate you coming on the show, man. Anytime, next album or next tour, you could say whatever. You guys are always welcome to come back on the show. No problem with that at all. So we just love having you guys. Love help to promote. That's what we like to do. Help promote new bands. So
well, we appreciate you, Trevor, a lot, and what you're doing is so awesome. And I know all the bands appreciate it too. And I think the cool thing, man, is all the underground bands have that advantage. We get you probably find some of the most creative, no holds barred type of music, because you don't have those labels telling you what to do. You might be signed, a lot of bands could be signed independently or whatever, but you don't have to worry about remaking that Madonna song, unless you want to.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I mean,
I agree,
that's
man.
it's all up to you.
The underground stuff is better or just as good usually as any of the mainstream stuff. Like, I probably don't even listen to that much mainstream stuff, especially new mainstream stuff. No, we don't do none of that. So yeah, but I guess you could say hair metal to an extent was, mainstream back in the day, but whatever. That's all past now.
Of course, that's underground now.
It is, yeah. Oh my God, yeah, that's shunned now. Just get that out of here. No one wants to talk about that. But yeah, man, like I said, man, we appreciate it. All right, guys, everyone, check out 86 Bullets. They're great. If you like anything like the newer type modern, but with great soloing, great bass tone, even great vocals, great drumming, the whole 9 yards. Check them out. Great lyrics as well. Very, very cool, heartfelt lyrics along with that. And can't say too much bad about you guys. Just sound really good. So
thanks. We one more thing. We have the lyrics. Most of them they're on our website too. Like if you go to the music section, you go to a song, you check it out. You can also check our lyrics, and we're into lyrics big time. We think, I love.
Yeah, and I can tell.
Me, it's like the icing on the cake. If you have good lyrics, I can like a band that doesn't have good lyrics. Hey, I'm a big Kiss fan.
Right.
I love Motley Crue.
Yeah, and like Anvil, Anvil is not known for their lyrics at all. So yeah, man, I hear you. So yeah, guys, I'll definitely let all their contact information in the description below. Check them out and leave a comment. Click the like button. Click the subscribe button if you like what we're doing here with all the artist interviews and album reviews and the whole 9 yards with us too on Krash and Thunders. So guys, I'm Krash and this is Chris from 86 Bullets, and we will see you guys later.